of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, when people like yourself economically have never, ever had it so good, $7.25 an hour, will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage?
Why did Bernie Sanders slam Trump's Treasury pick as gambling trillions on hand-wavy hypothetical stuff? Stick around as Sanders tears into a tax plan that showers billionaires with cash while leaving the rest of us wondering how to pay rent
After they pass away. This is nothing more than a gift to billionaires in this country.
This is political grilling at its finest. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. What happens when Bernie Sanders, a sworn enemy of billionaire handouts, faces Scott Bessant, a man pulling up with a tax plan that adds a staggering $2.4 trillion to America's debt pile? You get a Senate showdown that feels less like a debate and more like a verbal boxing match. Sanders came loaded with the facts, while Bessant, well, let's just say he brought wishful thinking and some unconvincing hand gestures. At the heart of the blow-up was a tax bill that offers $235 billion in shiny tax breaks to, you guessed it, the ultra-wealthy.
To give $235 billion in tax breaks to the very, very, very richest people in this country.
Sanders didn't hold back as he grilled Bessant on this, essentially asking, are we seriously doing this? And here's the kicker. Bessant admitted the $2.4 trillion debt increase, but then he pivoted to vague promises about how it would all magically balance out in the future. You know, kind of like eating cake every day and saying you'll start a diet next year. Sanders tore into this logic, describing it as nothing more than gambling with the economy. Trillions of dollars on what he called hand-wavy hypothetical stuff.
Increase small businesses substantially. That most small businesses, they are...
Has zero to do with, come on, you're smarter than that.
Now, let's break it down. That $235 billion in tax cuts? It's not going to Joe and Jane Average, who are struggling just to pay the rent or buy groceries. Instead, it's lining the pockets of the top 0.2% of earners, the same folks whose yachts literally cast shadows on your local beach.
Of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, when people like yourself economically have never, ever had it so good.
Sanders painted a vivid picture of what this imbalance means, contrasting it with the lived reality of working Americans trapped in a cycle of monthly bills and rising costs.
You got over 60% of the people in this country living paycheck to paycheck. Tens of millions are working at starvation wages.
You're betting the house, Sanders fired at Bessant. And guess who's footing the bill? It's not the billionaires. Backing up Sanders's fury, you've got reports from the CBO, the Wharton budget model, and even Yale's budget lab all shouting the same thing. This plan would balloon the debt and leave ordinary people worse off. And here's where it gets funny, or infuriating, depending on your mood. Even traditionally conservative groups like the Tax Foundation and Tesla's Elon Musk are side-eyeing this plan as too risky. Sanders didn't stop there. His parting zinger? Questioning if America's heading straight into oligarchy, leaving us with one haunting thought: are billionaires now in charge of the show?
A few hundred of the wealthiest families in this country, $235 billion tax break.
Bernie Sanders didn't just stop with the tax plan. He used his platform at the hearing to drag an even bigger fish onto the table: America's broken wage system. And by broken, we're talking about a $7.25 federal minimum wage that might buy half a latte in some cities.
$7.25 an hour. Will you work with those of us who want to raise the federal minimum wage?
It's been 13 years since the federal minimum wage in this country was increased. Since 2009.
Sanders gave Bessant a not-so-friendly reminder that wages for many Americans have stayed stuck for 14 years, while corporate profits have shot straight into orbit. It's a system where workers can't pay the bills even when they're clocking in 40 hours a week, yet billionaires are still lobbying to keep it that way. Naturally, Bessant tried spinning the same tired argument. States should take care of their own minimum wages. Cue Sanders's takedown. He pulled out the cold, hard truth. Nearly half of the states haven't touched minimum wage laws, leaving millions of people trapped at $7.25 an hour. If states were going to fix this, they'd have done it by now, Sanders fired back. It's time to stop passing the buck. And as if this wasn't frustrating enough, there's a whole new layer of absurdity when you consider who's calling the shots behind the scenes. The same billionaires who rake in cash for their companies, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, are actively holding back wage increases while bankrolling political campaigns and settling lawsuits like it's pocket change. Zuckerberg gets to shape politics, Musk gets to tweet away workers' rights, and the rest of us are supposed to just shrug it off?
The federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people here, have not been raised since 2009 and remains an unbelievable. Walmart has raised the minimum wage. You know what? You can't find labor in many parts of this country for 10 or 12 bucks an hour.
Sanders also painted a grim picture of what this system really means for everyday Americans. He called out taxpayers for unknowingly subsidizing greedy corporations. Companies with multi-million-dollar CEOs are paying workers so poorly that they have to rely on public assistance just to survive. So instead of corporations footing the bill for fair wages, regular people are stuck paying more in taxes to keep those same workers afloat.
This is the top 0.2%. This is not a mom and pop store. These are multi-billionaires, and the savings go to their kids.
Sanders summed it up with his trademark bluntness. Why should Americans accept a system designed by billionaires for billionaires? Even Bessant couldn't spin his way out of that one. America stands at a crossroad. Do we let billionaires call all the shots or fight for a fairer system that works for everyone?
40 million people in our country earning less than $17 an hour. Shamefully,
Bernie Sanders didn't mince words during the hearing, asking whether the U.S. is sliding into oligarchy, a setup where the ultra-rich hoard wealth and power while democracy takes the back seat. His message couldn't be clearer. Policies catering to billionaires leave working Americans in the dust. So, what now? Stay informed.
22 million workers who are making less than $15 an hour.
Question leaders who prioritize the wealthy. Push for policies that truly benefit the majority. Sanders reminded us, the fight for economic justice isn't just his, it's everyone's fight.